Hello, everybody. Welcome to our CAO information evening, our virtual CAO information evening. You're very welcome. We're going to start now in the next 3 or 4 minutes, so just sit tight and we'll start off in a couple of minutes. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining. We'll start now in a couple of minutes, so just bear with us for a couple of minutes. We just wait for people to join, and we will start at 5 p.m. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the DCU CAO virtual information evening. You're very, very welcome. I am your host this evening. My name is Paul Hegarty. I am a member of the student recruitment team. I'm a student recruitment officer in Dublin City University. And I will give you a brief insight of the format of tonight's event. As you all know, the closing date for the CAO is fast approaching, the 1st of February. Today is the 15th of January. If you haven't already applied to the CEO, make sure you get it in by the 1st of February. You also get the discounted rate by the 20th of January. And with that in mind, we have a wonderful lineup of 7 DCU students that will present the range of undergraduate courses across the Faculty of Science and Health. I have put the topics we are going to cover tonight into the chat, so hopefully you can see them okay. As I said, 7 areas that we will cover tonight, and I will run through the lineup very, very quickly. So the first session we will have will be Biological Sciences General Entry. The second one will be Physics General Entry. Third will be Chemical Sciences General Entry. Next up, we will have Health and Human Performance related courses. Fifth, we will have Nursing and Health and Society. And as you can see there down at the bottom, at 6:40, we'll have a double session. It'll run simultaneously, but I will explain all of that to you later on. We will have sessions on psychology and actuarial / financial mathematics. Um, each presentation will be 20 minutes, so it will be quite short. There will be time for you to ask any questions that you may have. If you have any questions, we encourage you to engage with the chat function. It's a little Q&A box or chat function, depending on what type of webinar you're using on your computer. And feel free to put them into the chat and we'll answer them as we go through this evening. So to kick off our first presentation, I am going to promote Nisa. Nisa is our current biotechnology student in DCU. And Nisa is going to cover biological sciences general entry. So Nisa, hopefully you can hear me okay, and you'll be able to share your screen, and hopefully you've got some wonderful slides for us.
Perfect. So I just send a request there to Paul to share the screen. So like Paul said, I'm studying biotechnology here at DCU. I'm in my final year, so I kind of have grips of what's happening with biology in DCU now. And I'll give a quick 15-20 minute presentation on the 3 biological courses that we offer here in DCU, as well as the routes into entry for them, and the similarities and crossovers between the courses and the different parts of them. Okay, is everyone able to see that screen okay?
Yes, Nisa, we can see it and hear you perfectly. Thank you so much.
Perfect, thanks. All right, so these are the slides for the School of Biotechnology. So just to start, what courses are under the School of Biotechnology? So we have Biotechnology, which is the course I study, and this is the flagship biological course that we have in DCU, which is why they're all under the School of Biotechnology. Then we have our Genetics and Cell Biology course and our Bioprocessing course. And then we also have a General Entry Biological Sciences course. So that's just for first year, and from there you're able to go into the other 3 courses for your second to third and fourth year. So just a little bit about DCU to start. One of the big headlines do you see is that it's ranked first for graduate employability in Ireland as of 2020. And one of the primary reasons for this is the intra aspect of our courses, and all of the biological courses have this intra aspect. And I'll talk a little bit about that later on in the slides. But basically, you have the opportunity to complete real life work placement during your course. And there are just some other statistics of why DC is one of a great place to study. Some other facts about DCU: we have 3 academic campuses here in DCU. All of our science courses are based on Glasnevin, which is the main campus, and has about 80% of the student body. We have over 100 clubs and societies, 70 plus undergraduate courses, over 20,000 students, 20% of which are international. And 80% of the courses have this integrated training or intra placement. In terms of the clubs and societies, it's a huge mix of clubs, which would be a lot more sports based. There's a lot of soccer, basketball, volleyball, cricket, kind of any sport you can imagine. And then our societies, they're more based in they're not as sporty as the clubs would be. So you have language societies, so there's French, German, Spanish, societies for specific groups. So there's international student societies or a science and health society for those of us studying science and health courses, or if that's something you're interested in. And if there's a club or society that you're interested in that's not yet formed, there is really easy pathways to form new clubs and societies within the campus. So there is a big emphasis on student life as well as academics here in DCU. So one of the benefits of studying biology in DCU is our microbial processing plant. So this was recently opened and it's something similar that you'd find in industry if you're working in biotechnology or bioprocessing. So you get to have real hands-on experience not only through your interplacement, but also in the labs that you're completing. So this would be a kind of scaled down version of what you'd see in big biopharmaceutical plants or in bioprocessing plants, such as Guinness or any kind of dairy products with bioprocessing as well. And students get to work with these. So they are primarily used for research that happens within the school, but labs that you undertake in third year, second, third, and fourth year will have some aspects of them completed in the lab where you get hands-on experience with the equipment. So it is a really great experience and something that not all colleges have. Oh, sorry, I skipped a slide there. So let's go on to your careers here in DCU. So these are some of the careers that we've seen past students from these three biological courses go into. Primarily, the biopharmaceutical industry would be a huge one, especially here in Ireland. But there is also career paths within biomedical and healthcare or within the food industry. So this could be brewing or working as a food technologist. Any type of food that requires microorganisms to produce would count as biotechnology. And the bioprocessing courses have a huge emphasis on this to help you prepare students for the working environment. And here are some of the companies that people work with. So these would be places where you might do your intra experience or where you might end up working with after college. So as I mentioned a few times, intra. So this is our integrated training and it's a module that you complete from January to August of third year. It's a really fantastic opportunity. Majority of the intra placements are paid. So if there's any concerns about having part-time jobs and trying to balance all that, that is something that's kind of you can forget, you don't have to worry about. It's been a key aspect of DCU for over 36 years. And DCU do help support you in finding your interplacements, but you're also able to find them on your own if you have a place near where you live that does similar work to what you're studying, or if you have family or friends working in the industry and you would rather work with them than one of the options DCU might have sorted, that is the opportunity for you. It's a really fantastic opportunity that gives you hands-on experience in the industry you want to go into. And it can let you know if it's something that you want to do, or if maybe you'd rather go and do a master's after college to specialize in a different area. But I recently finished my intra in August of last year, and I worked at MSD, so they're a huge multinational company. And in the 8 months, I had the opportunity to learn so much and do so much because DCU has such a strong reputation for kind of creating hardworking and hands-on students who have a lot of practical experience from the labs and the work that they do in college. There's a lot of trust given to the interns when you first start. And once you get through the initial training, you are treated like an employee of the company rather than kind of your stereotypical intern where all you're really doing is photocopying or getting coffee, that kind of thing. So you do get proper hands-on experience and the opportunity to feel like part of the team. So it was a really great experience and definitely a highlight of DCU. So then the entry requirements for our biology courses. So the Leaving Cert points do vary year to year. I think they're around the high 400s at the moment. But on top of the course point requirements, there are general entry requirements. So you need a minimum of an O3 or a H6 in maths, and then a minimum of an O3 or a H5 in either physics, chemistry, biology, physics with chemistry, or agricultural science. So you only need one of these to get into the course. So as it says, most students will only have come in with one Leaving Cert Science stu subject, and you will find in first year that this is the subject that you can kind of put on the back burner a little bit while you catch up with the other subjects. I personally came in with two science subjects, and it is a little easier when you come in with that kind of broader experience. But a lot of people I know only came in with biology, and they were able to catch up on chemistry and physics in first year because they are taught from the basic level on the assumption that you haven't ever studied them before. So if you're only doing one subject, don't worry about it. The professors know that most people have only done one subject and they do tailor the classes to that. So then we'll start with year one. So this is what all of the programs are going to study. So like I said, you're going to be doing the three sciences, so biology, chemistry, and physics, and you're going to have labs in all of these as well. One thing I liked about the first year labs were that they were on a Thursday and Friday at the end of the week. So the topics that you studied in lectures Monday to Wednesday were often similar or carried on into the labs that you did on Thursday and Friday. So it helped you see the physical applications of what you were learning in class and kind of helped it stick a little better. And then all of the subjects do maths as well. So this would be differentiation and integration, so calculus of maths. It's taught from a very, very basic level at the start. It's a year-long module, so it's the whole year just focused on this one topic of calculus. If you haven't done higher level maths, you might find it a little tricky. But if you attend all of your weekly tutorials and keep up with the work and attend the Maths Learning Center in the library, which offers free maths tutoring to anyone who might be struggling, you will fly at the subject. So there are lots of supports in place for people who might be coming in with ordinary level maths, or even if you did higher level but you struggled with this certain topics, the supports are in place for that. And then if you do go in first year doing genetic and cell biology, you're going to do statistic and computational biology as well. So this is a mix of handwritten maths of statistics, but you also learn a coding language as well. So this will be one that's taught from a very basic level as well, because most students aren't coming in with any coding background. So then we'll talk about general entry. So I personally came into the course through general entry, and then at the end of first year, we had a talk discussing the three courses, and we were able to pick our preference for second year. And then in the summer, we were told which course we ended up in. My recommendation, if you know that you want to study either biotechnology or genetics, is to put that top of your CAO and then put general entry down first. Because if you go general entry, you're not guaranteed a place in your first choice in second year onwards. It does come down to grades. Now, if you put in the work throughout first year, you're likely to get your first choice. But if you know that you want to do one of those two, pop it down first to your list anyway, and that resolves any potential issues of maybe not, if something goes wrong in first year, you mightn't do as well as you hope, and you might end up with your second or third choice. If you're interested in our bioprocessing course, you're only able to enter this through the general entry route, so you don't need to worry about that. So in 2024, the points for this were 485. So the general entry is a little bit lower than the genetics and the biotech course would be if you were to go straight in. So this is a nice kind of backup option, giving you a little bit of breathing room as well. And then we'll start with biotechnology. So this is the course that I'm studying. So its course code is DC 181. It's the flagship program for the School of Biotechnology, as I said. So we are one of the oldest biotech courses in the country, which means that a lot of people working in the biotech industry within Ireland studied this course. When I was on my industry placement, a number of my colleagues had completed this course for their undergraduate. So it does have a reputation to it, and people know the kind of work you're going to be capable of doing and the talent that comes from this course when you're going out looking for your internship placements or work after college as well. Its course points were 520 in 2024, so as I said, a little bit higher than the general entry. But if this is the course for you, then pop it down first on your CAO. So, why should you study biotechnology? I have a little bit of bias because this is my course, so I do think it's the best. it gives you a really well-blended mix of the biological aspects and the engineering aspects of biotechnology and what goes into creating products from biological agents, in particular for biopharmaceuticals. So some things that a biotechnologist would make is molecules, cells, drugs, and food. So human insulin would be a very common biotechnology product that everyone would be very familiar with, and that would be produced by a biopharmaceutical company using the applications of biotechnology. So here's some other examples of products. You might recognize some of these or be unfamiliar with them. And there's always new products being created within this field. Biopharmaceuticals is a booming industry at the moment with rapid growth happening every day in terms of research and products being developed. So it's definitely a growing industry to get involved with. Here is what you would study over your 4 years in DCU. So you'd have on top of your general sciences that you would complete in first year. You'll also have an introduction to bioprocessing. In year two, you start to develop more of the engineering modules, like your engineering principles, bioprocessing and instrumentation, as well as a bit of statistics with OR, which is the coding language. In year three, you'll have a little bit less modules because you're only in for 1 semester before you go on your intro placement. And then for year four, everyone will complete these modules in the first semester. And then in the second semester, you have the opportunity to do a research project or the opportunity to do biopharma based modules, which are listed along here. This is something that was only brought in the last few years for the courses. All biology courses have the option to do the research stream or the biopharma modules. And it just shows that DCU is keeping up with the industry needs and are collaborating with industry in terms of what they're teaching. And they're always looking to evolve their courses to make sure their students are best equipped for the working world. And then genetics and cell biology. So this would be kind of one of the most popular courses. It has was 532 points in 2024, and you're able to enter this course through the general entry route as well. So, why study genetics and cell biology? So, it gives you a broader and deeper coverage of molecular biology. So, that would be your biochemistry, genetics, immunology, disease mechanisms. There's less engineering involved with this. So, you still do, if you go in through the general entry route, you'll still do calculus. But if you go directly into genetics and cell biology, you get to skip that. And then in terms of career paths, it's a little bit more leaning into the medical sector. So you have pharmaceuticals, medical therapeutics, clinical diagnostics, and academic industrial research. So in surveys done on past students, you'd primarily see the most master's or PhD students coming from the genetics and cell biology courses in comparison to biotech and bioprocessing. But you also still get people working in biopharmaceuticals from this course as well. In terms of what you study, there is some similarities between the two courses so far, but you'd have more of an emphasis on genetics instead of the engineering that we have in the biotechnology. And then in terms of your final year, the first semester is very different, where you have your human inheritance and genetics and human genomics. And then for your second semester, it's the same, where you have the option of your research project or the industrial based modules. So if you study genetics and then decide at the end after your intro placement that you're much more interested in working in biopharmaceuticals, you have the option to broaden your understanding of the biopharmaceutical industry from these modules. And then our final course is bioprocessing. So, as I mentioned earlier, you're only able to join this course from the general entry route. So, there's currently no CAO code for bioprocessing. So, bioprocessing is similar to biotechnology, but it's even more heavily influenced by industry and the engineering aspects of it. This was recently developed with the first year graduating last year. So my year group would be the second graduates from this cohort. And it's a DCU Futures course, so they focus a lot more on continuous assessments, group projects, problem solving, presentations. So you would have less exams than maybe the other modules would, and a lot more hands-on learning and labs within this course. So if that's something that appeals to you, I would really recommend going in the general entry route so you have the opportunity to apply to this. In terms, so as I mentioned before, it's a future learning course, so it's a lot of challenge-based learning. So they're given a problem and they have to work on how they would solve it. So talking about circular economies and a lot of lab-based problem solving that they would have as well. Some of these companies down at the bottom have collaborated with DCU on the course, and you have the opportunity to do labs working with them as well. Here's what you study. So as you can see, it's pretty similar to biotechnology in the first 2 years. And then in year 3 and 4, it does start to differentiate a bit. Similar to the other courses, this has the research project or the biopharma stream. So all modules, all the courses do kind of come to a certain point where you have the opportunity to all do the same thing in final year, or you can do your research project and specialize in your course if that's what you're interested in. And all the courses have the interplacement. So that's a really great opportunity where you can decide if the research project or the biopharma streams are for you. So that's everything on studying biology here at DCU. See, there's a few questions I think in the chat. So I'll stop sharing my screen and pop back in so I can see them. Here. So, okay, so no questions yet. So if anyone has any questions about the courses or just even studying at DCU, please let me know. I'll be happy to answer them. Or if you'd rather not put any of your questions into the chat here, you're able to connect with DCU students on UniBuddy, where you can ask specific questions to students and get quick, in-depth responses from us.
Nisa, thank you so much. That was really
No problem.
interesting. Great to hear all of the different options available in the area of biology in
Mhm.
DCU. And as Nisa mentioned, Intra is a major component, which is going to give you a real head start in your career. Next up is Saida. Saida, I'm just going to promote you to panelist now.
Perfect. Sorry, Paul, just I see there's two Q&A questions, so while you're doing that, I'm just going
Oh,
to answer
sorry,
them.
sorry.
So
Go
in
for it.
terms of process development, tech transfer, I would say bioprocessing would probably be the best course for that, but biotechnology would be a good one as well. I learned a little bit about this when I was on my placement, but I think bioprocessing would have more in-depth stuff on it, as well as that if you are in decide to pick this course in your 4th year, I would definitely choose the biopharmaceutical module stream because that's where you'll get a lot more information on these kind of process developments and tech transfers. And then in terms of getting to do foreign placement for study or work placement, because intra is mandatory for biology students, you're not able to do foreign placement for study in DCU for these courses, but there is the opportunity to do your work placement abroad. This would have to be sourced by yourself. So if you're from a foreign country or you know people working in the industry in other countries, definitely reach out to them, I'd say at the end of your 2nd year and get and organizing that. And the DCU intra department are really helpful when it comes to sorting these things, but they're just unable to source foreign placements for students. Okay, which biological course would you recommend for someone interested in scientific research? I would definitely recommend the genetics course. That's where we get the most students going into further research, so masters or PhDs from. But if biotech or bioprocessing really interest you as courses, you're still able to go into master's programs for them from them, especially if you choose to do the research project in 4th year, because that experience will really stand for you going forward. Okay, and if there's any further questions, just again, please contact me on UniBuddy and I'm happy to answer them. And I'll let the next course talk get
Thank you,
started.
Nisa. Thank you very much.
Thank
So
you.
next up is Saida. Saida is going to cover physics general entry, and Saida is a current physics with biomedical science student in DCU. Saida, over to you.
Hey everyone. You're very welcome to this evening's webinar. I'm going to be sharing my screen there. Um, can you just let me know if you can see the screen?
Yes, we can see your notes as well. So if you want to just turn your notes off.
Yeah. Is that okay?
Yeah, just if you want to, it's just showing the slides
Oh,
and the notes. So if you want to,
sorry. Let me just. Um,
if you can't turn it off, it's okay. So you can just present as it is.
okay, perfect. Um, yeah, I think that should be okay there.
Perfect, perfect. Thank you so much.
Okay, so my name, just to quickly introduce myself, I'm Saida. I'm a student ambassador here in DCU, and I study physics with biomedical science. So part of my job is just to speak to prospective students about my course and answer any questions you may have. So yeah, we'll start the presentation. Just a quick note, if anybody has any questions, just like Nisa, you can leave them in the chat. I will try to get to them at the end of the presentation. And if I don't get to them, I will leave a Unibuddy link in the chat and you can message me on Unibuddy. So I'll just start the presentation. Sorry, my laptop. Can you see the next slide or is it stuck on this slide?
Yeah, you're just on the home slide at the moment, Saida.
Okay. One more. Okay. Is that okay? No?
Yeah, it's not showing at the moment. It's just a gray screen. It says click to
Oh,
exit. We're on your contact socials.
okay. I'm very sorry. Every time I try to change slides, it's pausing the screen share. Okay, that should be okay now.
Yes, we can see it now. Perfect.
Okay, so this is just some links. I'm sure the Twitter and Facebook might be out of date, but the main one there is the DCU physics page. So anything I might not get to today, you can just feel free to scan the QR code and all the information should be there. So welcome to DCU Physics. This is our main building, so it's called the Marconi building. Unlike the biology and chemistry, we actually get our own building in the DCU Glasnevin campus. Um, so here is where you'll be doing most of your labs or all of your lab work, some classes, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So why study physics? So physics is pretty much the answer to a lot of your why or how. It answers the universe's big questions, kind of ranging from energy generation and distribution to weather and climate models to environmental monitoring and protection. It's also very involved in the health sector, which you may not have known. Very mostly in diagnostics like MRIs, CT scans, ultrasounds, all of that is kind of physics. And therapeutics, so drug delivery, chemotherapy, kind of all that stuff is all to do with physics. Also involves a lot of new technologies like quantum technologies, nanotechnologies, which if you choose to do this course, hopefully you'll be doing a module on those in fourth year, and next generation computing. And the biggest kind of interest is space exploration and origin and structure of the universe. So a little bit more on why I study physics is the main thing is kind of that it's a very broad education. So there's a lot of transferable skills that you would learn in physics, like problem solving and um, just basic skills that you might need in every industry. And another one is that it's basically an international passport. So there's physics labs all over the world you'd be able to go to. It's very career focused on creation and application of new knowledge. So a lot of the um, industries you might be working on is research, R&D, education, training, finance, modeling, industry, business. It's a very, very broad subject. So if you're unsure on what you want to go into later, this would be a good course to do. And then it's kind of very broad after. Uh, so why study physics at DCU specifically? DCU is very student-centered, so there's very small classes. So in my course currently, there is about 15 students of us, so the classes are very small, which makes it very easy to ask questions, rather than maybe a bigger, more intimidating class might be, they're very small. I think the whole course, that kind of the four routes, which I'll get into later, might have like just under 50 students. So it's a very small course. There's excellent teaching. So a lot of the lecturers have won many awards in research and things like that. And the modern diverse curriculum. So the curriculum kind of keeps up to date with the new things that employers would want and the new things in industry. So they kind of keep up to date and then incorporate these things like using lectures, projects, challenge-based learning, labs, tutorials, things like that. So there's a huge range of teaching methods. And so yeah, these are some of the labs that we have. So I think the grain for lab was the previous physics with biomedical sciences chair was kind of leading that. There's NRF labs, ITER labs, and the iLoafer labs. So, the kind of the four routes you can go into. So, when you come in first year, you kind of come in with the physics general entry course. That's what everybody would do. And then at the end of first year is applied physics, physics with astronomy, physics with biomedical science, and physics with data analytics, which is our newest one. That one just started when I started, so we were the first year to have that choice. It's a great choice and it's very modern. It keeps up with AI and things like that. Um, a big question I get a lot of the time is, do I need to do physics in um, leaving cert? Do I need to have leaving cert physics to be able to do this course? And the answer is no, basically. You don't need leaving cert physics. So the physics general entry course is kind of designed to bring everyone up to the same level of same foundational level before specializing and going into the four streams there. Um, so everything that you would have learned in leaving cert physics, you will learn in first year. So you don't need leaving cert physics to be able to get into this course. Some of the first year topics that you might do, so these are some of the modules, which is just subjects. We just call them modules in college. Motion and energy, light and optics, electricity and magnetism, and properties of matter, life, the universe, and everything, which is kind of just means biology, space, and basically everything else. It's a very broad module. There's hands-on lab work, and a lot of the maths we do in first year is basically calculus. And then there's a bit of chemistry. I personally didn't do chemistry in the Leaving Cert, but it's very basic. It's physical chemistry, so it's physics chemistry kind of. And there's a little bit of programming, very basic programming that you'd kind of start in first year and then develop in the later years. And then in second and third year, so in second year, you do more advanced physics, I would say. So that includes quantum physics, which sounds scary, but it's actually not as bad as it sounds. It's just kind of the physics of very, very small things. Relativity, electromagnetism, electronics, mathematics, and then mathematical methods, which is kind of applying the mathematics in physics like theory, programming, and labs. And this is kind of more for third year, so we do more math. A lot of the math we do is mostly calculus. Quantum physics 2, which is just advanced quantum physics, basically statistical physics, wave optics, and more labs. And in third year, you would have an intro placement, which is basically an internship or research placement in industry research. I'll get more into that later as well and the intro that I did. Uh, and then fourth year, which is the year I'm in now, there's a choice of optional topics. So you have four modules and you get to pick per semester, and you get to pick two for the year, so one module per semester. And then you have the final year project, which is like a research topic that you get to pick or from a list of options, or you can make your own research topic, or some people have done research with their internships and then continued them for their final year project. Um, and then throughout all the years, there'll be a lot of professional development, which is something I've seen kind of even speaking to my friends in other colleges that study physics, they don't really have that incorporated. So we do have a lot of CV preparation. So building your CV, interview skills, kind of how to, what to say in an interview, how to interview, career planning, oral and written communication, IT skills. And there's also language classes you can take as a electives for extra credits. So I did French for my first 2 years in college, and that gave me a bit of extra credits. And yeah. So the first stream is applied physics, which is the oldest stream of physics we have. It was established in 1980, so it's pretty old. Uh, it's basically kind of very theoretical physics. I'd say they have less lab work and but it's very industry kind of physics based. So a lot of the things you might do are automation, interfacing, computer, theoretical modeling. You also have a lot of coding involved. So some of the special topics that applied physics would do that kind of the rest of us might not do are more solid state devices, surface science, nanotechnology, material science, and plasmas. So if that's those topics are something you'd be interested in, applied physics is a good choice. And kind of the most popular one, uh, most of the time, is physics with astronomy. So there's a lot of interest in space and kind of you're mad about space and the galaxy and things like that. This would be a really good option. It's very interesting. It was established in 2003, so a good while later. A lot of the some modules they would be doing are stellar physics, astronomical techniques, cosmology, astrophysics, and some generic things we might all do are like data analytics and programming. So we kind of all have a some sort of programming in the first 2 or 3 years. And then obviously biomedical science is less programming than the others, I would say. And while some of us are doing our intras, astronomy students actually got to visit European Space Astronomy Center in Madrid. Some of them got to go to Science Data Center in Geneva, DESY in Germany, or there is also research projects under the guidance of leading Irish scientists. So a lot of the lecturers that are interested in astronomy or have research in astronomy, in third year you have a chance to kind of do a research placement over the summer with one of them or over as your intro as well as your internship. So physics with biomedical sciences, which is the course that I do, is more biophysics kind of, which is like a lot of a bit on the biomedical side, but it's not really a lot of biology. It's like biophysics, so it's biomedical science with a physics background. So some of the things that we'd be doing is kind of like engineering biology. Um, it's kind of like biomechanics, microfluidics. So biomechanics would be kind of how you walk and how the body moves, or like artificial limbs and stuff like that. Microfluidics, kind of more to do with the blood flow and just the fluids inside the body and how they flow. Medical diagnostics, which is more on the imaging side, like CTs, MRIs, ultrasounds, things like that. And immunology and cell biology, which is kind of just to do with the blood and very basic biology in that you might have covered in the leaving cert. Uh, So just generic things would be data, design, fabrication skills. And if you do pick this course, you can have the opportunity to go into the medical physics department of a major hospital. So like Mater, Rotunda, Bowman, they all have medical physics internships. So I know a lot of people that did those. Um, I'll get more into intro later and what I did. I didn't do mine in the hospital. There is a lot of people that also participated in did it in a biopharma company. So like MSD, Johnson and Johnson, AstraZeneca, a lot of the big companies you might have heard of. On the right there is also kind of a prosthetic hand we designed in the third year labs. Is very cool using CAD, the CAD software. So the last one and the newest one is physics with data analytics, which was established in 2022. So this is more of a modern course and it really keeps up to date with like modern technology and AI and all that stuff, machine learning. So if you're interested in that kind of things, this would be perfect course for you. They would do a lot more programming and image processing, databases, data visualization, a lot more than the rest of us. Um, so it's very modern. So the teaching methods would kind of be partially visualized labs. It's also co-developed with industry. So I think physics co-developed this course with Accenture, which is a company here, which is really cool. And then more of the fundamental stuff would be quantum computing and solid state devices, which are modules they specifically would have to do, but would be kind of an option for the rest of us if you also want to do them. So DCU students and graduates go places. So some of the examples, the PhD student Paul Cannon, he was awarded the Young Investigator Award, sponsored by ICEO Oxford at the Nanotechnology Materials and Devices Conference. And there's the Lynham Medal, which is given every year to the outstanding final year academic achievement, basically. There's a Fryer Medal, so the best overall performance in the final year project across all the four streams, and a lot more things, achievements here. Um, Also, a physics graduate is now also a pilot at Aer Lingus, so that's also, oh, oh, sorry, accidentally clicked on the link. Um, can you see my screen okay there?
So your slides have just gone off the screen.
Oh, sorry. Is that okay?
Yeah, if you want to just, we're running a little bit behind. So if you want to finish up in the next couple of minutes, please, that would be great.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Okay. So, a big part of our thing is integrated training. So, over 80% of our courses have intra. Um, so I'll just talk a little bit about my intra. I did mine at Jabil Healthcare, which is a medical device manufacturer. So they'd be making medical devices. So some examples of medical devices are like inhalers, injectables, like neat, all that stuff, insulin devices. So I just was able to get my bronze belt, which is a belt you get in the engineering industry. Um, this is a little bit of my final year project. I won't get too much into it, but it's basically the design of a microfluidic chip. So there's very small channels that are like thinner than human hairs, and my project is personally re fully remote, so it's all a coding project. Um, and then bit of volunteering I do for the Institute of Physics. So we were at the Stripe Young Scientists exhibition recently, and that's just some of the things you may be doing in as a physics student. So this is just head of the school and the physics general entry chair, and then the streams chairs, the program chairs. And yeah, these are some links. You can scan the QR code if I missed anything, or you can get in contact with me at Unibuddy. Try to leave the link in the chat now. And yeah, thanks for coming to this webinar, and hopefully we'll see you in DCU Physics next year.
Seda, thank you so much. That was an excellent presentation. As Saida mentioned, a great feature of this course too is the intra-work placement. Saida, you might just stay on the call. Don't leave just yet. Stay as a panelist. And there's a couple of questions there, and you can just type them in the Q&A section. Just get back to students that have inquired about the course. So I'm now going to promote our next speaker, Erin. Delighted to welcome Erin as we get her set up. Erin is currently a chemical and pharmaceutical sciences student in DCU, and she's going to cover the various options through chemical sciences general entry. Erin, you're
Hi,
very welcome.
can everyone hear me okay? Can
Yes,
everyone
thank
hear
you
me?
so much. You can
Okay,
want to just
I'll
share your
share.
slides, and I'll leave it over to you.
Yes, no problem. Okay. Okay. Hopefully this is good. Could we see this? Could we see this? Yeah.
We're just waiting for it to load. Yep, perfect. Thank you so much.
Okay, perfect. So, hi everybody. My name is Erin. Welcome again to our CAO virtual info evening. I'll be talking to you about the School of Chemical Sciences, and all the courses that DCU have to offer. Again, my name is Erin. I'm a second year chemical and pharmaceutical student. Even though I'm only in second year, don't worry, I'm very informed about this course, and all the information that I'm about to give you is what I was fed, and one of the reasons why that I was encouraged to study here at DCU. So yeah, I'm a student ambassador for DCU, and like Saida, oh sorry, I have UniBuddy. That's my email as well. If you have any questions, you could pop it in the chat, and I'll type my answer. Or yeah, or you could uh, contact me on UniBuddy, and I'll answer your questions as well. So why study chemical sciences in DCU? So even though there's like loads of students studying in DCU, and you might find yourself in a classroom that has that you share with like other courses, so it might be you might have a class where you have 200 people or 100 people in your lecture, but DCU often like put you into smaller focus groups to improve your learning, and yet to just attract your focus, and to help people in their education individually. So that's one benefit to studying in DCU. There's a strong commitment to teaching and learning. So I'll reinforce these points later, but the staff here at DCU, especially our science staff, they're very hands-on and dedicated to make sure everyone has a good learning experience, and make sure they ensure that everyone really understands like the curriculum and that and all the modules and information that you're studying in DCU. So they're very helpful. I'll just reinforce that later. Research informed curriculum. So everything that you study, especially like everything that you study in DCU, not just chemical sciences, are based off of like research that are happening day to day. So it's up to date, and it just um it just proves that like the things that you're learning in DCU, they're not out of date, or like there's a it's just very future focused, and that yeah, it's research informed. So again, we'll come back to that. But yeah, there's a career emphasis. We have intra, like Saida said. I'll get more into that as well later. Sorry. Award-winning undergraduate laboratory. So yeah, DCU just last year, they were awarded number one in research quality for science, and yeah, so all our science facilities in DCU are really pristine and really top quality, like things you would find in a real life lab. So DCU don't cut corners or beat around the bush. They will provide you with all the things necessary that you need for your science career. And there we have a student-centered ethos. So basically the students learning is student learning, and the environment they're learning, that's essentially that means it's really important to like the students are prioritized in DCU. So I'll just keep going. What will you do here if you're studying School of Chemical Sciences? You will have opportunities to go on work placement. So that is your intra. Um, that usually takes place in third year, and that intra is our like your work experience, and you'll get a chance to do an internship in, for example, a pharmaceutical lab or a biotech and pharmaceutical lab, or other places where you might want to work. So I'll talk more about that as well. Exchange opportunities. Some students that study one of these chemical courses often are able to go abroad and further their education and learning there. Field trips, a lot of the projects that you'll be working in DCU, you often need to go out into the workplace to study and research them further. Because we are scientists, we are trying to innovate things and learn better about our surroundings or finding solutions to things. So that's why field trips would take place. And yeah, there's also competitions. As I said, like DCU tends to win a lot of awards because we're really competitive in the movement of our in our progress with science. So yeah, you could find yourself involved in competitions for your research or maybe for your projects that you submitted in DCU. But yeah, so I'll just keep going. These are all of our undergraduate programs. So, and these are all the course codes as well. You might need to take these down because they are essential for your CAO. There's chemical sciences general entry, chemistry with AI. The course I'm studying, chemical and pharmaceutical sciences, analytical science, environmental science and technology, and science education. So these are all the streams. You might be curious about why do we have sciences, chemical sciences general entry. It is essentially if you know you want to study science, but you don't really know what you want to do, but you know you want to study chemistry, you could enter DCU through the general entry route. It is literally just like it just literally puts gives you a place in DCU, and then later on in second year you could specialize. So yeah, it says a note here that every all of these, if you enter DCU through a general science course, you're able to specialize in second year, and you're able to get you could specialize into chemical and pharmaceutical science, analytical science, or chemistry with AI. Or yeah, you could get all of these courses like environmental science and science education, um, all of these courses out here like straight away. You could get it your first offer, and you could enter DCU with that course and you're already specialized. But if you really don't know what you want to do, or maybe you're unconfident that you could get you might be unconfident that you will be able to achieve the points for these courses, you could enter through general entry, which the points are lower, and then in second year you could specialize. But that's if that also depends on your performance in first year. That depends on your grades, like your exams and things like that. Um, this is a bit more information about it. Yeah, so as I said here, you could enter chemistry with AI or analytical science or pharmaceutical science through the general entry route. So don't be discouraged maybe if you don't get chemical and pharmaceutical sciences straight away. I would definitely say you could put chemical sciences general entry as a backup. But of course, you could always enter these courses through direct entry. So you could get these courses straight away. These are also the points. So just last year, they did decrease the points. So or as you know, leaving cert, it could fluctuate, it could go up or down. But this is the general range of points. So 485, that's for pharmaceuticals, and like 404 for general entry. So that's pretty accessible. And I know whoever's interested in chemistry, you could definitely make it. Yeah, so you might want to take a screenshot of this slide. Yeah, just these are all the courses that we have available. If these are all the required subjects that you might need, that you do need, sorry, I should say, if you want to study any of these courses. So you need maths. You need either an O3, an ordinary level, um, grade 3, or a H6, so that's higher level, and a minimum of one science subject. So if you might be asking, do you need to study chemistry in Leaving Cert to do a chemistry course? No, you don't. You could do any science, physics, biology, because in first year, all of the science courses, like all the STEM courses, like physics, biology, usually chemistry and biology, they all study the same thing. You're given a Leaving Cert foundation of knowledge of chemistry, biology, and physics, so that keeps you up to date. Like that just brings everyone on the same level and the same understanding going into your further studies. So you don't need chemistry. You could come in with biology if you want to study these chemistry-based courses. So chemistry at DCU, your first year, this is what your first year might look like. Again, there's more information about the modules that you're learning in detail on the DCU. If you search up the chemistry courses at DCU on their website, it will tell you what you're studying in detail each year or each semester. But you get a mix of lectures, tutorials, and laboratories. So laboratories, that's the experiments you're doing in um, in in secondary school, but on a bigger scale. Small assessments throughout the term to help you monitor your progress. You might be given a small test or a small quiz. What we have here is called in DCU is called continuous assessment. So that's like a small test worth maybe 10% of your final grade just to see where you are at with all the learning. You're given regular feedback. So whenever you submit assignment or something like that, there's a demonstrator or a professor that will give you feedback on what you can improve or if you did well on your work, which is really good. So it always helps you progress in your learning. Open door policy, that just means if you really need help or if you need help with anything, your DCU staff are so accommodating. They encourage you to come ask questions to them, and they will help you if you're struggling with anything like that, or you something happened, whatever. That's our open door policy. The DCU staff here, like your tutors, your professors, they were happy to help you. We have a maths learning center, so when you're studying STEM at DCU, you're most definitely guaranteed to study maths. Unfortunately, to some of you maybe, but yeah, we have a maths learning center, which is basically a a center in the library. If you're struggling with maths, there are tutors. It's basically free grinds. Like there are maths tutors that are there to help you study maths and improve your knowledge in maths. So definitely, this I definitely have used this. It's very helpful. Yeah. Um, there you have personal tutors when you're put, as I said, when you're put into your smaller focus groups, you have a personal tutor that you could go to. Um, it's just nice to have a personal tutor to go to directly instead of maybe trying to go to like your higher course module like coordinator. It's nice to be able to go to a personal tutor like directly. Um, DCU is very proactive with online and virtual lectures. So DCU is very modern as well. Sometimes not everything is on campus. Sometimes you could have a Zoom call like this, or maybe you might have a drop-in session. Say if you have questions about something that you did on campus, like in a lab, could um, you could ask in the drop-in session. Like there's like Zoom Q&As that DCU provide. Like I know I've been to those. So and there's virtual labs as well to support in-person labs. So virtual labs is basically um a experiment but virtually, and it's just it's basically to reinforce your understanding of what you learned in person. That's just all um the facilities and like the benefits that you are provided when you study chemistry here at DCU. This is a view of our lab. So this is the labs here at DCU are very like they're very like accurate of what you'll see in an actual lab. Like say when you go out into the world of work, like in and a pharmaceutical company. Yeah, you're provided all the materials that you need, which is really good. So if you come to one of the DCU open days, we also offer lab tours, so you could go into the lab and see it yourself. Um, you also will study. I won't get into this too much, but if you study like a STEM course in DCU, you might um have to participate in a hackathon, which is basically um an event where you you're put in a group and you research a challenge and you propose a solution. And there's a panel of judges that you might present this to. It's basically to train students to think like scientists, because that is um our job, basically um to find problems in the world and to try figure out how to solve it. So these are some examples of what um like what we've done before, or past students have done. Like one of my project that I presented with my group was localizing saltwater purification systems, which is we were trying to figure out a way how developing countries could have access to water. So that's just an example, but of what you guys might do when you are studying here at DCU. I'll keep going. So yeah, this is our intra. It's again, it's our work placement. It could the length could vary up to 3 to 6 months, and that usually takes place in third year. You get to choose where you want to do your placement. Um, you choose where you want to do your placement. Like you could, and that's the great thing about intra and DCU. You're not limited to what you're given. You could go out and do research, and um, a, sorry, a great thing about this is that, like, if you find yourself um in a work experience that you might not enjoy, you could um pull out and discover another that you might want to. It's basically putting yourself in a position where, like, where you would be interested in working. So that's what Intra is all about. You could yeah, you could work in all areas such as chemical and pharmaceutical and analytical and environmental sciences, like all those areas. And you could work with some of the top pharmaceutical and chemical companies in Ireland. Like a lot of DCU alumni, they've gone on to work in Pfizer and Bryson Myers as well, Bristol Myers Squibb. So these are all pharmaceutical companies that you might be familiar with. And yeah, a lot of DCU students find themselves working there. You develop your skills, like, so whatever you learn in DCU, you're able to apply it on to your apply it to your work placement. And yeah, we've gotten very positive feedback from companies about DCU Intra. So yes, this is the course I study, chemical and pharmaceutical sciences. It specializes what the whole gist of our course specializes in the pharmaceutical area, so drug design, synthesis, general chemistry, and nanotechnology. So chemical science students are given the opportunity to study how chemicals and molecules work and how they impact so many aspects of our lives. Graduates can understand, design, and um, synthesize and formulate and characterize active pharmaceutical ingredients. Um, yeah, so there's chemical and pharmaceutical sciences. You're given a pharmaceutical option and a chemistry option. So you're given both um, sides of the spectrum. You're exposed to both areas. So you could be designing drugs or designing nanotechnology. Um, yeah, and yeah, modeling drug behavior in cells. Um, yeah, so this is what I'm studying currently at the moment. In second year, we have organic labs and physical labs and inorganic labs. And in third year, we have pharmaceutical labs, analytical labs, and organic labs. So these are just, um, they get more and more complex and detailed as you continue your studies here in DCU. So yeah, it's just the material gets more complex and more like yeah, they get more complex, but your knowledge will be developed as you continue studying. So these are just labs and experiments that reinforce your learning, and it's really nice to have something practical compared to just learning everything theory like from your book. So in your experiments in your laboratory, that's where you can really practice your skills. And why things work in the certain way that they do. Analytical science specializes in quality control, product development, medical, industrial forensics, and biological systems. Um, in analytical science, if you're looking for something more biology based and not chemistry based, I would recommend analytical science. There's also a chemistry stream. So if you are interested more into chemistry, yeah, you would be exposed to making metal compounds for industrial use, analyzing molecular fingerprints for forensic analysis. So yeah, this is um, if you if you are into more biology, like I would say pharmaceutical science is very chemistry heavy, but if you still have a heavy interest in biology, analytical science is good for you. A lot of the career prospects after like all of the professions that you could get um, are interchangeable. Like pharmaceuticals do look at quality control and product development as well. But we'll keep going. Chemistry with artificial intelligence, that's a relatively new course here at DCU, but it's become very popular over the days. You could read the slide here, but essentially, if you're into computer science, but also really have a firm interest in chemistry, you could combine these two things. And chemistry with AI is basically, it says here that AI is aiding scientists to bring COVID-19 treatments and vaccines to market faster. So essentially, AI is helping accelerate the process of like chemistry and how we could apply it to for example, COVID-19 or into different systems, but also we need a background into us chemists need a background into AI as well in order to improve it and to to actively like be involved in it and develop the AI with chemistry with AI like in the industry. So if you're looking to um if you like comp sci, if you like techie things, if you like computer stuff, and you like chemistry, this is a good course for you. Environmental science. So if you're concerned about climate change, biodiversity loss, pollution, environmental science is a really good option for you. You get to solve or come up with solutions to real life problems um, that are affected by chemistry. And since you will be a chemist, you'll understand um, how or you'll research and study to how to fix that situation. Um, yeah, and there's science education as well. Maybe you want to just teach chemistry and give secondary school students a good background to chemistry. You could learn you could be a teacher that has chemistry and mathematics together, like the secondary school teaching route, or you could study chemistry with physics or physics with mathematics. There's some statistics here that science education students continue teaching in Ireland and the UK, 75%. And other students have continued in postgraduate studies. So what's so cool about DCU is that there's loads of masteral or even PhD programs that you could continue on your learning after you get your bachelor's in whatever course you could get, um, which is really nice just to be able to develop your education. Um, um, and yeah, so you could get a master's and PhD here. Um, Yeah, so opportunities for chemists, you might want to take a screenshot. Say if you're interested, but you don't know like what careers or jobs that you could get into after. For chemical and pharmaceutical sciences, you could be synthetic chemist. You could also work in drug design and maybe research into how to improve a drug, or maybe discover a new one. Chemistry with AI, again, drug design or data analytics. Um, how to discover new methods of approaching chemistry, but with AI. Analytical science, you could work in hospital laboratories, research, forensic laboratories. general chemistry careers, teaching, research, consultancy. You might be looking at quality control in a pharmaceutical company, sales and marketing, science communications, environmental technology, so waste management and pollution control, health and safety. Those are really important things that need to be dealt with in today's age. So yeah, I always say that the pharmaceutical industry or any like job, like the job, the 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 window for jobs and job prospects for STEM students is really wide. Like there's loads of opportunities for you to find work because chemistry courses and chemistry there's it's in like especially in the pharmaceutical industry, people working and in those areas are in demand. So they're becoming really popular in today's age. So this is this it's another reason why you could study
Hi,
chemistry here
Aaron.
at DCU.
Aaron, hi. We're
Yes,
just running a little bit over. So if
no
you could just
worries.
wrap
I'm
up in the next.
almost finished. We could skip over these. It's just some of examples of our research. Um, More research that we've done, you could always search up on DCU's website. But essentially, I'm finished. Again, if you have any questions, sorry the for the time. But yeah, that would be all. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. But yeah, thank you and good luck with your CAO choices, guys.
Aaron, thank you so much. You might just stay on the call. You can just switch your video and audio off, and you can just answer questions. Lots of questions coming in there for Aaron, if you're interested in that area. And as she mentioned, we're actually ranked number one in Ireland for our research quality, which I think is is testament to the quality of the academic staff and the courses that we have in DCU. So next up we have is Rena. Rena is going to cover our sports related courses and also our PE courses. And I'm just going to promote Rena as a panelist right now. So Rena, hopefully you can hear me okay and you're able to share your slides and I will hand it over to you. And yeah, you can stay on the call at the end and answer any questions. I'm sure there'll be lots coming in. Keep the questions coming in, folks. Great to see so many questions. Thank you so much.
Okay, perfect. I hope that everyone can hear me okay.
Yes, we can hear you. And yeah, if you want to just press slide share, we'll be, yeah, perfect. Thank you so much.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, cool. So, yeah, I hope that everyone's doing really well and that you're looking forward to kind of seeing what each course has to offer. So, just like Paul said, I'll just be covering some of the sports related courses. So, basically, I kind of just want to give everyone like a really good understanding of what each kind of course has to offer. So I do welcome questions, just like anyone else has mentioned, but I'll be taking them at the end. So in the Q&A box. So probably one of the first questions I would ask about sports science and health is kind of what is sports science? So that's basically using science to understand the body in relation to sports performance. And then as well, we also have the health aspect, which a lot of people do forget, but it is really important. So that we basically use physical activity to see how we can prevent and treat chronic diseases. So I would like to just kind of take you through what the course has to offer. So in the first year, you kind of get an intro to like basic sciences and it's quite general. And then as you like kind of progress, you go through and you go into year two, which basically offers a bit more specificity. And for me, this was because this is my course. So this is I'm a little bit biased, but it was the most enjoyable year for me, I think. And it was quite busy, but you basically get to do a lot of practical based stuff. For example, we have like exercise testing, which we get to be the subjects because there's obviously no one else there to do it. So that's like really enjoyable. And then in year three, you get to kind of expand a bit more on the theory and practical aspects of exercise, but you also get to expand on it in more of a health related sense, which is really insightful. So that's again to do with prevention of diseases. And then finally in year four, you get to be a bit more specific because we do have a research project which we would refer to basically as our thesis. So this is called our final year research project. And we also get to choose our modules. So this is the first year that we get to choose our modules for this. And we do find this, a lot of people find that quite easy because we've had a really big variety and understanding in the first 3 years. So I'm not going to read out everything just for the sake of time, but you kind of just see this is all the modules that we have laid from semester 1 all the way through to the last semester in year 4, which is the dark yellow. And you can see that there's a lot less modules as well once you get here. And that's to give you some time to work on your thesis. So I would like to also just kind of cover a little bit more in depth with year 2 because it's quite busy, as I mentioned before. So you get like a really wide array of disciplines once you get into year 2. So you have the likes of conditioning science, which is basically strength and conditioning. And in this module, you actually do get to train someone and like program for them in the gym, which is like so class, like it was so fun. And then you also have the likes of anatomy or physiology, which is that's like very emphasized throughout the whole course. And then also the likes of like nutrition or genetics and biomechanics. So there are a lot of different disciplines that are covered. And a really important thing that I kind of wish I actually knew before the course, but this is a really rare aspect of the course, is that you do come out with a Reps Ireland qualification. So that basically means that you are qualified to instruct as a fitness instructor and basically just be able to be a personal trainer. So if anyone's into the likes of PT, you can use this qualification for that. But I just wanted to outline it because it's a very valuable aspect of the course that they have to offer. And yeah, it's really great for students. So we're so lucky to have gotten this. So yeah, I'd like to move on to now our intro placement. So that's in year 3. Obviously, everyone else had kind of spoken a little bit more about their intro placements as well. So it's the same aspect. So basically, the whole aim of this is to give you an understanding of like what the professional working world is like once you go into like the sports science and health realm. So it basically lets you apply all the knowledge and all the skills that you've been learning from year 1 all the way through to the first year of year 3, and you get to see what that looks like in a role, especially on a day-to-day basis, which is really cool. So this is not necessarily a really important aspect, but I just wanted to outline it for some people because I kind of wish I knew as well, is that the structure is either 4 months unpaid where you kind of do work on the part-time basis, or it's a 6 months paid job, but you are in on a full-time basis. Now, this obviously does vary from organization to organization and depending on the role and stuff, but that's kind of what the basic structure was like that we were offered through our portal. So yeah, we can see that there's a really wide array. I'm not going to read out everything for the sake of time again, but yeah, the most important thing for me with intro was that because there's so many different organizations that offer placements, is that you can really like tailor it to your interest. And yeah, I really, really like that part. So I just included a few kind of different examples that we've had from this was our year. So we've had the likes of like Xwell or Trinity Sport and Special Olympics, which is really cool. And then me personally, mine was with Paralympics Ireland. So this was really invaluable for me. Like I got to do some work abroad with them, like I'll go to Turkey and Spain, which was so cool. And my role was was as like an athlete assistant. And I was like basically assisting them through training context and also in competition, which was really cool. And then onto, I suppose, a bit less of the boring part, but the assessment method. So there's a lot of continuous assessment, which is really good, especially if you guys kind of resonate more with that way of being assessed. And then obviously the likes of like written assignments, so there's like lab reports and group projects and presentations. So I know if you aren't comfortable presenting, it probably feels a bit like, oh, but you do get to develop your skill and you do get better over time. And then as well as that, we do have some like more practical exams, so lab based, and then we also have some written tests and end of term exams. So that would be the likes of like an MCQ or like a written exam. And then again, so probably what you're asking is like, what kind of careers can you go into? So the likes of, if you want to go into more like high performance sports, so that can go look like coaching and development, or you can go down more of the health route, which is really rewarding, but a lot of people do forget about this. So I do want to stress this, that this part is like so rewarding when we get to learn about it. And yeah, it's great to get to work. You can work with like older people as well. So that would be the likes of like Biomedical, which I just outlined in a few slides before. Or again, what a lot of people want to go into, which is the likes of physio, medicine, nutrition, or even occupational therapy as well. So just some takeaways I want to outline as well is that there's a lot of one-to-one feedback and work with lecturers because we're such a small course. There's only about like 30 of us, which is really, really good. And there's also this great balance of like theory and practical work. And then as well as this, I can't even stress this enough, but there's a really great breadth of content covered, which means that there's so many different career paths that you could really choose. Like it's nearly difficult, and you probably will end up finding out about things that you didn't even know were to exist. And then, yeah, lastly, is that there's loads of different opportunities to expand on your skills outside of lecture time. So that can look like maybe you get to help out with exercise testing or like volunteering, coaching, and then also research too. Like there's a really good program called the Summer Research. I think it's called the HSB program, but you get to do a little bit of research for, I think it's around like 6 weeks, and it's a really good insight and would be some good experience before you go into your final year research project. And then, so now we have athletic therapy and training, which is kind of a little bit more specific compared to sports science. So this basically lets people graduate and work with athletes to be able to prevent, assess, and then treat and rehab sports and physical activity related injuries. So we do have some differences though, is that physio is kind of a bit more of a general program, whereas we refer to this as ATT. It's basically a bit more specific. So you do get to work with athletes on the pitch, and it also does include non-musculoskeletal diseases, such as like respiratory illnesses or like neural damage and cardiac disease or strokes. Yeah, so we can just see here the outline of the course structure. So all the way from year 1 all the way to year 4. And you can also see that there's like a good bit of clinical experience that you'll get within this course, which is really, really good. There is also, I do want to say, a bit of an overlap between sports science and athletic therapy and training. So we do get like an overlap of some of the modules that we do together, which is quite nice. So you will get to kind of see what the sports science crew get to do, and it's lovely to be able to work together. But to do with clinical experience, basically you do get exposure to patients in year 2 and 3, and then you get a 4 to 6 month clinical placement in year 4. So this can be within Ireland, or there are also some students that went to work on in the UK or the US and Australia, which is really cool. So here are just some examples like I was giving in the other slides. So people getting to work with the likes of the FAI, which is football, or Leinster Rugby, or even Shelburne Football Club, really, really cool and great experiences. Or the likes of, say, Kildare. Yeah, and just moving on here. So these are just some more examples. Swim Ireland, which is really, really good. And then physio clinics, as well as there's a clinic that's literally just down the road from DCU, which is really, really good. So then looking at more of the sites that are just outside Ireland. So we have like Manchester City or even Liverpool. Or we also have rugby as well and Sail Sharks. Yeah, and so then this is kind of more like the US side of things. So if you were kind of looking to maybe study abroad or do your placement abroad, which would be really cool. So we also have like the likes of Stanford University or the University of Pittsburgh, which is a really, really good one. And then as for the Australian sites, we have the likes of Sydney as well. So looking at assessment methods, very, very similar to sports science. So we have the likes of continuous assessments, lots of group projects on the presentations, and then especially we have some practical and oral exams. So as well as this, though, we do have some shadowing and clinical group work, and then you have the same thesis as well as the sports science crew, which is your final year project in your last year. And then for your career options, you can go into the likes of, say, private practice. So that's like a sports injury clinic that you might have worked with before. Or you can work with some national governing bodies. So that would be the likes of, say, Sport Ireland or Paralympics Ireland, Swim Ireland, just like kind of I had outlined before. Again, obviously some sports teams, or you can go into further study. So say if you want to go into like a master's and develop yourself that way. Teaching, which people don't really kind of outline, but if you wanted to go into the likes of like some research or some lecturing, and then obviously you'll get to maybe even work abroad if you would like to do that too. Oh yeah, and just wanted to outline as well, there is a new option of masters at year 5 in athletic therapy and strength and conditioning that we have, which is really good. And we can provide some details if anyone has any questions, if you want to ask them later on after the presentation. So then moving on to physical education. So we have physical education in the likes of biology and then also with maths as well. And so basically they are 2 separate 4-year programs, and they are separate biology and math, like kind of maths elements, which you will obviously need. And it provides people with the skills and the knowledge to be able to teach P with biology or maths. So it's either one of the two. So that's in all post-primary schools in Ireland, of course. So you do have, we refer them as like PEB or PEM. So you do have blocks of placement in schools during years 2, 3, and 4. And this does provide the opportunity for students to kind of like just explore and see what kind of issues will help them to learn from and be able to kind of progress as a teacher. So just looking at kind of like the course structure now, we have 3 strands. So from year 1 all the way down to 2, 3, and 4, that's strand 1. So that's in physical education. And then in strand 2, you have just normal education, and then biology and mathematics. So looking at kind of the assessment methods, very similar as well. You can see there's a lot of continuous assessments, which is very common part across all of our courses. So we have the likes of group projects, lots of presentations too. And then the differencing, or I suppose like the differentiating part, is the fact that there is practical experience. So you will be teaching one another, or there will also be that school-based teaching practice. Oh yeah, and also just outlining here. So, DCU has the Masters in Physiotherapy program. So this is a 2-year full-time program, and it's also inclusive of clinical placement as well. And this will be starting in September 2025. So just want to go over probably the part that everyone's like wanting to ask about, some course requirements. So this is as of 2024. So the points kind of, I want to just outline them first. So for sports science, they were 511, and then ATT was kind of a bit more on the higher end, so that's at 565. And then whereas PEB and PEM are a little bit lower, so PEB being at 542 and PEM at 508. So obviously these are all being applied through the CAO. And then oh yeah, if you have a disability, you can apply for reduced points. So that is a case by case basis. So you would basically put through an application, and then they would decide in what way they can reduce your points based upon your disability. And then we also do have a talented sports person sort of little aspect as well, which does help people out. So if you are particularly involved in sport, that is something that you can look into, which you may be able to kind of help you out on that end. So just in terms of like what they're looking for, there is a minimum of 6 leaving cert subjects at a grade either O6 or H7. So to include the subjects English or Irish, but also the subjects maths, and then at least 2 subjects of a grade at H5 or higher. But if we're looking at like the course requirements, we can see that there is an OC3 or an OA2 for PEM, but also a HD3 in maths, plus a grade OC3 or HD3 in one of either physics, chemistry, biology, or physics with chemistry and ag science. So, oh yeah, I actually love this question. So why should you consider one of these 3-degree programs? First of all, I feel like the career options that you have after, there's such a breadth of, and like a really, really, like a really, really broad amount of content that is covered in each of them. And I feel like this is a really important part, and something that is not really stressed enough is that even though they are maybe specific courses, obviously sports science or like athletic therapy and training, but you really can tailor things to your interests. So say if you are more wanting to get involved on the coaching side of things, or if you're like, no, I kind of want to work in the health aspect and you want to work in like the public sector and maybe work from that end, you can totally choose that. Or if you were like, no, I actually probably would like to go more into teaching, then that is definitely an option. And as well, for the fact that a lot of, not all, maybe that's probably an exaggeration, but a lot of our modules do overlap quite a lot between the PE courses as well as ATT and then sports science, is that you do get to study a lot of the similar things, but then obviously based upon the different courses, they will differ in terms of obviously what you are studying specifically. So yeah, I hope that gives everyone a good kind of overview of what each course has to offer. Of course, I'm because I'm in sports science, that's where my knowledge lies most. But if I can answer any questions or if I can help anyone out, I would love to do that. So if you would think of any questions, even if they're small or if you think they're a little bit bigger, then just pop them in the chat box and I will do my best at answering them. So yeah, good luck everyone in exams and thanks so much.
Lauren, thank you so much, Rena. That was great. Some wonderful options for you to explore there if you're interested. I'm just going to use this time to promote our Spring Open Day, which is taking place on Saturday, the 18th of April. It's on both campuses, Glasnevin and St. Patrick's campuses. I have put into the chat, so if you want to come and visit DCU in person, would encourage you to attend our Open Day in April. Next up is Lauren. You might stay on the call, Rena, and you can just minimize your video and your audio and just answer any questions. Keep the questions coming in, folks. Lauren is up next, and I'm going to promote Lauren to a panelist. And Lauren is going to talk about the 4 nursing courses that we offer in DCU and also health and society. Hi, Lauren.
Hi.
Hopefully you
You
can
see my
share a
screen
screen, and
there?
I'll pass it over to you now. And yeah, thank you so much.
Hi everyone, my name is Lauren. I am a third year general nursing student here in DCU, and I'm just going to be giving an overview of the School of Nursing, Psychotherapy and Community Health. So, just an intro. So, DCU has a student body of over 20,000 students from all over the world. We have a diverse student body, and we're spread over 3 academic campuses. So the nursing school is located in the Glasnevin campus. We also have St. Pat's, which is down in Drumcondra, and we have All Hallows, which is just across from Pat's. So DCU was also this year ranked in the World University Rankings, and nursing was also recognised this year in the World University Rankings. So I'm just going to briefly introduce you to the profession of nursing to provide you with an overview of the structure of the 4-year Bachelor of Science program, and then to present the key elements of the program. So, what is nursing and what do we do? So, nurses play a key role in promoting health, preventing illnesses, providing skilled, compassionate care to those experiencing physical or mental health challenges, and then support people who are disabled, chronically ill, or at the end of life in the palliative stage. So, at its core, nursing is about human connection, clinical expertise, and advocacy delivered with empathy, integrity, and professional accountability. So, could nursing be the career for you, and could we be seeing you in DCU next year? So, I want you to ask yourself the following. Do you enjoy health and science related topics in school? Are you curious about how the mind and body works? Do you have good time management and organization skills, which you definitely need if you're a nurse in the busy environments that we work in? Do you have a sense of compassion and genuine desire to help others? Are you a people's person who enjoys being around others? Are you able to work well as a part of a team? Nurses work a part of such a huge team in the hospitals, a part of a multidisciplinary team. So you're working with your speech and language therapists, occupational therapists, the medical teams, and so many more professionals. Do you want a career where you can truly make a difference in the lives of others? And are you looking for a diverse and rewarding career with strong postgraduate and career progression opportunities And with nursing, the world is really your oyster. Like there's so many possibilities and so many like masters you can do in different topics. So here in DCU, nursing is a 4-year program. It's a level 8. And then at the end as well, you will be able to you will be eligible to register with the NMBI, which is the Nursing and Midwifery Board of Ireland. So DCU offers 4 distinct nursing degree programs. So they offer general nursing, mental health nursing, intellectual disability nursing, and then the combined course of children's and general nursing. So, what is the difference? So, between all the different specialities. So, general nursing focuses on physical health care across the lifespan. So, your typical clients will be adults and the geriatric patient, and then you will be working in acute hospitals, medical surgical wards, and care in the community. Then, with your mental health nursing, it focuses on psychological and emotional well-being. And then your typical clients will be people experiencing mental distress across their lifespan. And then the mental health students will be working in the community, inpatient services, and recovery-focused trauma-informed care services. So then with your ID nursing, your intellectual disability nursing, it focuses on supporting people with lifelong disabilities, whether that be the children with disabilities or adults with disabilities, and you will be based in residential care, schools, and community supports. And then we have our children's and general nursing course, which is 4.5 years long, and you will have a dual qualification in children and adult nursing. So your typical clients will be right up from a baby being born up until 16, 17, 18-year-olds. And then you will be working in acute hospitals and public health nursing settings. So choosing the right path, so things to consider, you need to consider what kinds of care people or environments you were drawn to. So you need to think and reflect on, do you think you'll work well in an acute physical healthcare setting, supporting emotional, mental well-being. So that could be if mental health nursing was more suited to you. And then working with individuals with additional needs over their life course, and then also the option to care for both children's and adult patients in your combined course. So currently, the points lie at 424 for your general. For mental health, it's 359. And for your intellectual nursing, it is 308. And then for your combined course, it is 509. And I know a lot of people might be sitting there this evening thinking, oh my goodness, 509 for children's and general is so high. But basically, any registered nurse, so if you do your undergraduate in DCU as a general ID nurse or a mental health nurse, you will be eligible to be considered for a 1-year full-time program here in DCU in collaboration with CHI. This course consists of 12 weeks in college and then 36 weeks of clinical practice. And then the course fees are covered by the HSC, and students receive a staff nurse salary throughout, which is absolutely amazing, that you're getting paid. And then you also will get to go further your studies, and then you're only finishing a couple months after the children's and general combined course. So then the program structure of the Bachelor of Science in Nursing. So it is a full-time course. Each year has 2 semesters with different modules. The modules are so varied between like anatomy and physiology and pharmacology, and then obviously you will have your specialized modules depending on what area you choose to go into. So semesters are comprised by 30 credits, a combination of academic and practice modules. So over the 4 years, you'll have 31 academic modules, 5 practice modules, and an internship at the end when you're in 4th year. And the student is paid as a paid employee of whatever partner health service you're going to be with. And then the children's general have additional academic semester in year 4 to 5 and 1 additional practice module. So here is just the program map of years 1, 2, 3, and 4. And this is great, I think, because you're given this in your first year of nursing, and then you're able to see where you're going to be throughout your course. And it's great if you have to plan stuff in advance. So then students with disabilities who may need reasonable accommodation. So within the university and in all partner services, we aim to support student nurses with disabilities in academia and clinical practice. So all reasonable accommodations in practice will be facilitated. And in the hospitals, there's student coordinators called CPCs, and they are just incredible to help accommodate students with additional needs. Yeah, they're really, really good. So then the partner services, and also if you were thinking of coming to DC or wherever you want to go to college, I think if you're doing nursing, you really need to think about your partner service, because at the end of the day, if you're working your long 12-hour shifts, you don't want to have to commute 1 to 2 hours home. So for our general nursing here, our main partner hospitals are Beaumont and Connolly. I am a Beaumont student myself and I love it. So then for your children's nursing, they are in Temple Street, and then for their um, the adult side, they will be in either the Bonds or the Mater. These are also just a few of our partner services. There is also more partner services. So then for your mental health, you will be with the Dublin North City Mental Health Services. And then for the intellectual disability nursing, they will be in St. Joseph's or a Vista or St. Michael's House. And then um, Erasmus is also offered in your third year. So um, 12 students will be picked to go on a 9-week placement in partnership with the University of Malta, a university in Germany, or the University of Murcia in Spain. And this is for 9 weeks. And then they also offer a shorter placement, which I think is 2 weeks, where students can go to Lourdes and help over there. And then, so for the children's general program, students will be able um, to be able to go to do a placement in Mumbai. So 2 students are picked to go do this. So it's a 4-week pediatric practice placement in partnership with Mumbai University of Health and Applied Sciences. And this is in collaboration with CHI. And I know some of the girls that went in my year, and they had such an incredible time getting to work in such a different, diverse setting. And they really took that back then to their clinical placement when they came back home. So then in DCU for our skills that were taught, this is done in the Clinical Education Centre, which is known as the CEC, and then we are examined then by the people in the CEC. So basically they're called OSCEs, which are Objective Structured Clinical Examinations, and these assessments of the skills that we were taught, it's a great way to boost your grades because a lot of the modules in DCU there's split percentages of your skills and then your assignments and also your exams. So it is a great way to boost your percentages if you're good at the more in-person skills. So where do nurses work? The possibilities are endless. Nurses can work in practice, like in acute hospital settings, research, education, management, and leadership. So then the School of Nursing and Psychotherapy also offers a course called Health and Society. It's a 3-year course with volunteering opportunities. Currently, the entry requirements are 498 points for the CAO, and then there also is general entry requirements, which can be found on the DCU website. So it is a great balance of biology and social sciences, and there's a strong understanding of the connection between both. So then you also have a year-long dissertation in your third year, which focuses on societal health issues, for example, smoking and physical activity performance. So I'm not going to go through all of these, but basically here's your modules, your core modules for year 1 and year 2, and you really get a great insight to all different aspects. So then it also focuses on, the course focuses on marginalizational and health, campaigning for health equity and infection and immunity. So then you'll also have a health research product or project. So this is a 20 credit module. It's a year-long project that must examine a health issue in society, and then qualitative or quantitative research must be conducted throughout it. So you'll analyze a health issue that you're interested in, find the population, sample that, and investigate, and then collect data by conducting surveys or interviews. So yeah, it's great that they have such a diverse project here in your third year. So that is everything for the School of Nursing, and I'll be happy to answer any questions, and I hope to see you all in the School of Nursing next year.
Lauren, thank you so much.
No worries.
That was great. Great options for students there that are interested in nursing and also health and society. Our final two sessions, I've just put into the chat, so just to let you know, our final two sessions are going to run simultaneously. Amy is going to cover courses in psychology, and I am just going to promote Amy as a panelist right now. So if you're interested in psychology and you want to listen to Amy, you can just stay on the Zoom call. You don't need to do anything. And then Sorka is, I'm just promoting Sorka to panelists now. Sorka is going to cover courses in the area of mathematics. So we have two courses in the area of mathematics, and I'm going to create a breakout room. So I am going to create the breakout room just now, and you will see a pop-up on your screen. If you're interested in the actuarial and financial mathematics area, you can just click join. And if you're not interested in that and you want to stay on the call and listen to Amy going through psychology, you can just ignore the pop-up or just close it. So that should be open for you now. So if you want to join Sorka and listen to mathematics courses, you can join that right now. And I will leave Sorka take care of that session in the breakout room. I'm now going to hand you over to our final speaker in this channel, and that is Amy. And Amy is going to cover our 3 psychology courses.
Hi, thank you so much. Let me share my screen there. Perfect. All right, are we able to see that there? Seems so. Perfect. Yeah, so hi guys. My name is Amy and I'm here to talk about the School of Psychology that we have here at DCU. We offer 3 courses in the School of Psychology, so I'll talk us through all of those. And at the end, as the other talks did, I will leave some time for questions at the end. So yeah, just to introduce myself, my name is Amy Walden. I am a final year psychology student here at DCU. I moved from abroad to come to Dublin to specifically study psychology here, originally from South Africa, lived in Switzerland for a few years, and then I came to Dublin and now been here 4 years and absolutely loving it. So far within being at DCU, I've taken part in many, many things like being an ambassador for the university. I'm in a singing society, I'm a class representative, and just found as many things as I could to join. And within psychology specifically, my interests sort of lie in neuropsychology as well as educational psychology, but I'm going to talk about all the different areas that we offer here. But before I go into the courses, psychology is a word I think we often hear, and you might not know what exactly it is. The general definition for psychology is it's the scientific study of human mind and behavior. So it's how we think, how we act, react, and interact, both individually as well as in groups. We can break that down into the 5 sort of main pillars that are within psychology. So we have lifespan or developmental psychology, we have cognitive, biological, we can look at individual differences as well as social. So really it's a broad subject that touches on a lot of things about human behavior. When we look at these 5 pillars, there really is a lot that we can actually do with the subject of psychology. Just to list a few sort of random things, I mean, we can help people overcome depression, stress, trauma. We can speed up recovery from brain injury. We can ease effects of parental divorce on children. We can prevent bullying in the school or workplace. We can help athletes to perform better. And generally, we conduct research with this ultimate aim of helping people in different conditions, environments, and circumstances. So if we go into the actual courses that we offer at DCU, so I mean, this is my favorite course, but that's just because I'm in this course. But this is the Bachelor of Science with Honors. This is in pure psychology. So it's a 4-year course, relatively small class sizes, around 40 students each year. I have to say, our class sizes are one of my favorite things because by the end of the 4 years, you know everyone's names, you know everyone's faces, and I kind of think it's a little family. This course commenced in 2010, and since then the leaving cert points have ranged from around 509 to 565 in that time, obviously alternating every year. The requirements for this course are that you need an O4 or a H6 in maths. Now, what you'll notice about all 3 of the courses that I talk about today is that they are all accredited by the PSI, so the Psychological Society of Ireland. What that means simply is that our courses are all recognized globally. And if you want to go and study somewhere else within Ireland, you want to become a psychologist, that everywhere else recognizes our course and sees it as, a good course, basically. So I just always say that's something to take into account when you're choosing where you want to study. So like I said, it's a 4-year full-time program. And in this, we have a serious range of modules. Like we have things from biological psychology to a bit of statistics, social psychology, sports psychology, perception, child development. I mean, really, there's something for everyone. What's particularly unique about all of our psychology courses at DCU is that in 3rd year, we offer a 1-semester placement. So this is accredited interview-based intra-placement. So this is where you actually go out and you work. This could be a semester in a hospital, a social setting, educational setting, organizational, or doing research. What's great about this is that it really just helps you narrow down, what you want to do and what your interests are within psychology outside of just learning theory in the classroom. For me specifically, last year I went and I worked in the neurosurgery department at Temple Street Hospital here in Dublin and just absolutely loved it. And it's really helped me decide what I want to do after my bachelor's. Amongst other things, during these 4 years, you'll do some volunteering in certain modules. I volunteered at a play school. In the final year, you will complete a final year research project. And this is where for the whole year, you get to research one area of your own interest. It's very independent and you get to do what you sort of want in terms of research. And just generally, you do a lot of activities within our course and you really get to meet loads of people, but get to know your course as well as your lecturers. So I think one of the questions I often get with psychology is, you can study this bachelor's, but then what can you do after that? So it is a very wide and diverse degree, and it provides you with, I think it really provides you with practical skills for a range of professions. And what's interesting about it is that in our course, I would say most people start off being certain they want to do something, and by the end, they actually want to do something quite completely different. And I think it's quite exciting doing that because we just touch on so many areas to do with, the human mind and behavior. So many individuals do stay and continue in the psychology field. So you can stay in research, practice clinical psychology, sports psychology, biopsychology. A lot of those do need studying after your bachelor's, but this is a good first step in getting there. And I will say that the university guides you a lot in terms of knowing what to do after then. And then, a lot of people just go into generally broad areas and other disciplines, and this can be both private or public. So I like to ask these questions of if, the BSc in psychology is for you. So some of the questions are, do you have an inquiring mind? Are you interested in, just understanding human behavior and the people around you? Do you like helping people? Do you like the challenge and rewards of really in-depth study? And also, do you have the ability to question in a critical way? If these things apply for you, then I think this could be the course. But then we go on to our second course that we offer in the School of Psychology. So this is the BSc in Psychology and Mathematics. So again, it's a full-time 4-year Bachelor of Science degree with smaller class sizes, approximately 10 people. This actually only began in 2021. Since then, leaving cert points have been around 520, where the main requirement, because there's the maths in here, is that you need a H3 in mathematics. So being psychology and maths, this just has a much wider range of really exciting modules. So you do the psychological modules because this is an accredited course. So you do stuff like biopsych, cognition, social psychology, but then you add in modules such as calculus or programming for mathematics and so on. What's great here is we do have the intra placement as well, where you go out and work for a semester. And again, you might work in a hospital, but you might go work with one of our industry partners in an office. So specifically, some of the skills you might come out with of this that are quite unique to the psychology and maths course are things like developing your numeracy, analytic, and problem-solving skills. But it's so you develop these so that you can really understand, the human mind and behavior. I mean, us as humans, we are so complex. Again, like I said, you'll do those core psychology modules across all those pillars, but then you'll also add in things like statistics, probability, calculus, algebra, numerical methods, finance, coding, and so much more. So this is a very new course and probably interesting to a lot of you hearing psychology and maths together. Probably wouldn't be something that I don't believe many universities offer this. So you might not know how maths and psychology can really be applied in the real world. But I think having the two of these areas in one course, your skills are so diversified for a range of professions. So whether you want to stay in psychology, whether you want to go into teaching, whether you want to work in the public or private sector, but there's other future careers, some of which we might not know even exist yet, but behavioral change, market analysts, financial analysts, business consultancy, research, statistical analyses, just so many options there. So again, asking these questions of, if you have an inquiring mind, like the challenge and rewards of in-depth study, have the ability to question in a critical way, but specifically see your future as someone who interprets human behavior using complex data sets with an exciting career in industry, psychology, or education, then the psychology and maths degree could be for you. And then the third course that we offer here in the School of Psychology is the Psychology and Disruptive Technologies course. Again, a full-time 4-year Bachelor of Science degree that's also accredited. This is slightly larger, taking 20 students. And since commencing as well in 2021, the Leaving Cert points have been about 500 to 520. Here, just to note that the minimum requirements for maths are an O4 or H6. So like our other two courses, this module includes an interesting range of real practical activities, and many of which students go on to work in industry because of this. So because of the intra placements, they go into hospitals or clinics, they go in industry and tech, social enterprises, schools, research institutes, and more. What's interesting here is I think the course looks at a lot of hot topics and keeps really up to date. So I mean, right now looking at AI and social robotics. And then there's other micro modules like data visualization, advancing your transversal skills, and just many more. And as well, like both of the other courses, you do have a final year project. What's great here is if you want to do something more in the psychology sort of discipline, you can do that. If you want to add more technology into that, do that. If you want to combine the two, that's great. But it's really by the end of the 4 years, or by the end of the 3 years, you then decide in your 4th year, what do you want to research? What do you want to contribute to the research world? So again, like those courses, many people do stay in the psychology specialism, but then you can go into things like programming and artificial intelligence, looking at human technology interactions. You can go into consultancy as well as statistical analyses. So there's really just a lot there. Again, I ask these questions, but I think the main question I'd like to ask here is, do you want to gain the collaborative and transferable skills that you'll need to move forward in a society where we're clearly driven by digital and technological innovation? As well as this, do you have an aptitude for high-level mathematics and scientific inquiry? Then this course could be for you. Now, I also know, it might be looking quite far in advance for you, depending on what year you're in at school, but, when you come to university, you're looking at what to study, but a lot of that is so you can think about where do you want to work after that. So I think it's so important to consider when you choose a course, what skills you're actually going to come out with practically. So across all 3 of the courses, just thinking, our course at DCU really works on our team working skills, our organizational skills, critical thinking, statistical skills. I mean, if we do the maths course, there's numeracy, computational modeling. The disruptive tech looks a bit at science and political communication. And just all of those are things like time management, data visualization. Those are all skills that we work on throughout all 4 years. And all those skills, which I've seen in my intra placement and now figuring out what I want to do after, have really helped me figure out what I want to do. But now I'm very passionate, obviously, talking about these degrees in the School of Psychology, but there is a lot more to university life. DCU are so well known for their engagement in student life. Just to list off a few, I mean, we have student support and advice centers. We have a very involved student union holding events throughout the year. I know within even School of Psychology, we have a society for psychology. What's great about it as well with our student union is that individuals, students yourselves, could become a part of the student union. We have things like elite athlete entry schemes, we have on-campus student accommodation, and we just have so much more to offer outside of the courses. Something that's I always think interesting from the screenshot is that we have over 140 clubs and societies. So this is just a few of them, and you can skim through that. There has to be something that calls out to you. I mean, there really is everything from debate, education, film soc, German soc, jazz. Like there really is something for everyone. So I know this is only a short talk, and I hope I was able to provide just a snippet of what we offer here in the School of Psychology. But if you have some questions, please put them in the chat, and I would love to answer them for you. So I'll stay on, and if we have anything, pop them in.
Amy, thank you so much. That was really interesting to hear the different options open to students in the area of nursing and also health and society.
I see, I don't know if we have time, Paul, but if I answer a question here, is that okay?
Sorry, yes, yeah.
Perfect.
Sorry. You were also sorry. You were covering
Yes.
Sorry.
I know we've had lots of us. I'm sure hopefully people have been interested in all the courses. But yeah, someone just asked.
Sorry, I was just going to say I'm going to put some notes into the chat. We're going to finish up in the next couple of minutes, so thanks everybody for attending. Some useful links for you as well, if you want to find out about DCU, that we'll share with you. And yeah, if you have any questions, we'll stay on the chat for a few minutes. And our open day is on Saturday, the 18th of April, if you want to come along to our open day. Lots of information on our CAO hub, dcu.ie/CAO. If you have any questions, we'll stay on for a few minutes. But thank you so much for attending. And very best of luck with your CEO applications. Amy, if there's any questions there and you want to answer them, you can
Perfect.
work
I see someone just asked about sports psychology, that they're potentially interested, and it's done in the first one, but what year of that? So it's actually done across all three of the courses, I believe. And I think we did that in, using my memory of when I did that, I believe that was in second year. And it was actually great. We did the sports psychology module with the sports science students. So it was really hands-on, and it was cool hearing the different perspectives, I guess. So, but I would recommend, if you want all the specific modules, go onto the DCU psychology page, because it'll have a breakdown. If you go to structure, it has that breakdown there, but I believe it was second year. Absolutely love that module, I have to say. Is there any Bachelor of Arts for psychology? So the full-time courses for psychology are all Bachelor of Sciences, but I believe we have a course that can be taken part-time, so it takes more years. That's a Bachelor of Arts. But yes, our masters and the three bachelors that we're chatting about here, they're all Bachelor of Sciences. Again, I say for everyone, just for little, details about the courses, looking up just DCU psychology on Google, it comes up with our pages there. And if you have more specific questions like this, definitely go to a DCU Unibuddy, and you can reach out to myself or our other ambassadors to ask specific questions about our courses. Perfect. I think I'll head off, and I'll keep an eye on the chat for a bit. If there's any other questions, I'll respond to those. But thank you so much, everyone.
Thanks, Amy. Thanks very much.
Thanks.
Yeah, so if anyone has any further questions, they can reach out to us. Our email address is studentrecruitment@dcu.ie. If you have any questions, you can email us directly. Lots of very good resources on our CAO hub, dcu.ie/CAO. And yeah, our open day is Saturday, the 18th of April, is on the Glasnevin and St. Patrick's campus. And you can see the links there earlier in the chat. We had links to our DCU students ambassadors. If you want to talk to them directly on lots of our undergraduate courses, you can view them on our website. You'll find the link on our CAO hub, dcu.ie/CAO. So that's the end of our session, everyone. If you have any further questions, we'll take them in the chat. But I want to wish you all, again, all the best luck with the CAO application. And if you're completing any exams this year, we also wish you the very best of luck with your examinations. Hopefully you'll join us at our next open day. Our next in-person open day will be Saturday, the 18th of April. But for now, thank you from DCU.